I fucked a stranger in the forest. Now he's everywhere I go. I think someone was following me, but when I turned around, there was no one there. Just fog, thick and wet, curling around the empty street like it was alive. It moved too slow, too deliberate, swallowing the world piece by piece. I couldn't see the bar anymore, couldn't hear anything either. No cars, no voices, just silence. Too silent. My skin felt wrong. My body didn't belong to me. Everything inside me was loud. My heart, my breath, my thoughts. And everything outside was dead quiet. The wine. No, not wine. My stomach twisted, and suddenly I couldn't tell if I was hot or freezing. My hands trembled, my knees locked. Something's wrong. Something's very wrong. I stumbled forward, trying to get somewhere. I don't know where. My feet dragged across cracked pavement. Streetlights flickered and buzzed above me, useless. I tried to call someone, anyone, but my fingers were numb, and when I pulled my phone out, I dropped it. It hit the concrete and slid into the gutter. I didn't go after it. I couldn't. My vision blurred. The world tilted. The edges of everything felt soft, like I was walking through a dream I couldn't wake up from. And then, I saw the trees. Dark, still, waiting. A stretch of woods just off the road. Black trunks reaching up into nothing. No light. No noise. Just a path, narrow and crooked, leading straight into the dark, and standing right there at the edge of it, a man. Not moving, not speaking, just watching. I couldn't see his face, but I felt his eyes, felt them on me like hands, cold and curious. My body said run, my brain said scream, but I just stood there, breathing too fast, legs shaking, heart punching my ribs from the inside out. Then he stepped forward, slowly, no rush, no threat, just calm, controlled, like he'd been waiting for me, like this was always supposed to happen. "Hey," he said, and I swear to God, I was prepared for death, only it never came. Flashback, a few hours ago. If you'd asked me yesterday how my life was going, I would have said fine, not good, not bad, just fine. Wake up, go to work, come home, eat, maybe, sleep, repeat. No drama, no friends, really, no love life to speak of. I've been coasting through the same routine for months, hell, maybe years. It was quiet, dull, safe, and I didn't mind. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. Until tonight, I don't know what made me say yes. I don't do first dates, especially not last-minute ones with some guy off an app I barely use. But he messaged me something stupid and kind of flirty, called me mysterious, said I had eyes that looked like they kept secrets. I don't know. I was bored. I said yes. We were supposed to meet at 9. He picked a weird bar, far out, quiet street, barely lit from the outside. The kind of place you don't just stumble into. I should have known then, but I went. And he was off. Too charming, too smooth. The kind of guy who laughs at nothing, touches your arm just a second too long. Kept looking over his shoulder like someone might be watching. His eyes never stayed still. Still, I stayed. Ordered wine, forced a smile. Let him talk. 10 minutes in, something felt wrong. Not dramatic wrong, just off. Like my brain knew something my body hadn't caught up with yet. The wine tasted too sweet. And the way he watched me, hungry and impatient, made my skin crawl. There was something in his smile that said I was a prize, not a person. It hit me then. Yeah, he'd wanted to get me alone. Maybe take what he wanted after I was too far gone to fight back. And my skin was heating up. I started sweating. Not a little, like soaked. My shirt clung to my back. My heartbeat picked up. My throat felt dry. He said something about going somewhere quieter, and that's when it hit me. I needed to get out. I stood up mid-sentence, mumbled something about the bathroom maybe. I don't even know. I just left, Didn't wait for the bill, didn't say goodbye. I walked out into the street, gulped cold air, and then I knew. I was dizzy, too dizzy. The sidewalk tilted, my head spun. I blinked hard, rubbed my face. Was I drugged? Did he spike my drink? Or worse? Was it something else? Because I wasn't just dizzy. I was hot, too hot, like fire under my skin, like every nerve was turned up to 11. My hands were shaking, but my chest was buzzing. My thighs burned. God. Number was it? An aphrodisiac? Jesus. The thought made my stomach flip. But my body, my freaking body, it didn't care. I felt out of control. Every sound was louder. The streetlights were too bright. I couldn't think straight, couldn't walk straight. I wandered, unsure where I was going. The city blurred behind me. At some point, the sidewalk ended. I didn't even notice. There was fog now. So much of it. And trees. A row of them stretching out beside the road. Dark and silent like they'd been waiting all night. And that's when I heard it. A voice. Low. Software close. Hey. I turned. And there he was. The man at the edge of the trees. He wasn't the guy from the bar. He was someone else entirely. Someone calm. Still. And somehow, that made it worse. I should have screamed, should have run, but my body didn't listen. Flashback end, back to present. Hey, he said. The voice cut through the fog like a knife. Low, calm, soothing. I turned, half expecting a monster. Instead, I saw him, a man, tall, still, eyes sharp but steady, hands open, no threat in his face, just concern. You okay? He asked. I wasn't, couldn't speak. I must have looked like hell, sweaty, shaking, barely upright. He stepped closer, slow and careful, like he didn't want to scare me. You're burning up, he murmured, reaching out. His hand landed on my shoulder, cool against the heat radiating off me. That one touch, it made me shiver, not from fear, from relief. Something about him, his stillness, his warmth, the way he looked at me like I was real, made the panic in my chest crack. Just a little. And that's all it took. I don't know what snapped. Maybe it was the drug. Maybe it was the way my body ached for something real. But the moment he touched me, I moved. I grabbed him. Shirt, shoulders, whatever I could hold. Pressed my body into his. He froze. Hey, wait, he said, voice low, hands hovering like he didn't know if he should stop me. But I was already kissing him, mouth open, desperate, needy. I didn't care if it was wrong, didn't care if I was making a mistake. All I knew was I needed to feel something that wasn't fear, something hot and human. And he didn't stop me. He let me push him back, let me climb into his heat like it was the only thing keeping me alive. Our mouths crashed again. My fingers slid under his shirt. His hands gripped my waist, held me steady. Before I even knew it, my back hit a tree. His body pressed into mine. Hands roamed, greedy now. My shirt was gone, pants shoved halfway down. His fingers dragged over my skin like he was trying to figure out where I ended. And God, I wanted it. My body was on fire. My mind was haze and hunger. He lined up against me, his skin hot against me. And then finally, I slowly melted into his touch. I moaned, loud, broken. My forehead slammed into the bark. My fingers scraped over it. My whole body tightened around him. He groaned, one sharp breath through his teeth. Jesus, he whispered. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. Neither of us could. He moved, rough but careful. I pushed back, greedy, shameless, chasing every shockwave he gave me. It wasn't sweet. It wasn't gentle. It was need. Animal. Urgent. Unspoken. Like we'd both been starving and only just now found each other. Like this was the only way we knew how to live. My legs shook. My body clenched. I felt myself slipping. Too hot. Too far gone. Like I was floating above it. His voice in my ear. I've got you. His breath on my neck. his body deep inside mine. And then, everything went dark. The next morning, the first thing I felt was softness. Sheets, warm, clean, crisp, the smell of fresh linen. A hum from somewhere, air conditioning, traffic? It was distant. For a second, I thought I was dead. Then the pain kicked in. My legs ached. My throat was dry. My lower back throbbed like it had been hit or slammed into a tree. I blinked my eyes open. A hotel room. Dim light leaking through thick curtains. Quiet, still. I was lying on a white bed, shirtless, wrapped in a towel. There was a bottle of water on the nightstand and a small first aid kit. My wrists were bandaged. My knees too. Nothing deep, just scraped, cleaned, covered. There were no clothes on the floor. No phone, no wallet, no stranger. I sat up slowly. My head spun. What the hell happened? I remembered flashes, hands, heat, bark against my spine, breath on my neck, a voice, calm, quiet. The feeling of being taken and held and ruined all at once. But now, there was nothing, just silence, and the ghost of his touch still crawling under my skin. A few days later. That week, I didn't tell anyone. Not that I had anyone to tell. I went to work. I ate, I slept. I tried to pretend nothing happened, that maybe I imagined it or dreamed it. But my body remembered. Every time I sat too fast, every time I turned in bed, every time I touched myself and bit back a moan that didn't feel like mine. And then I saw him. At first, I thought I was losing it. I was waiting at the crosswalk outside the grocery store, scrolling through my phone, when I felt it. Eyes. I looked up. Across the street, just beyond the crowd. Him. Same posture, same stillness. Hood pulled low, hands in pockets, watching me. My breath caught. But when the light changed and the people moved, he was gone. 3 days later, on the subway, I looked up from my book and he was there, 2 cars down, leaning against the door, staring straight at me. I blinked. He was gone again. Then again, outside my building, reflected in the glass of the coffee shop window, leaning on a car across the street, not moving, just watching, and always the same, there, gone, like smoke, like he never existed. But I knew it wasn't just memory. He was real, and he wasn't done with me. A week later. It started slow. After the woods and the hotel, I thought I'd never see him again. But then I did. Once, then again, always in daylight, always calm, never close enough to touch, but never far enough to ignore. And then one day, he said hi. We didn't talk much the first time, just stood awkwardly near the food truck I always went to on Thursdays. He asked how I was. I said I was good. Lied. I almost offered my name. I'm Juan, by the way. But he just nodded, like he already knew. Maybe I'd told him that night. Maybe he'd never forgotten. The next week, he sat beside me on a park bench like it was the most normal thing in the world. Didn't even look at me. Just watched the fountain, handed me a bottle of water like he already knew I'd forgotten mine. I drank it. Didn't speak. But I didn't leave either. I should have been scared, angry, something. But there was this stillness around him, like even the wind calmed down when he was near. A month later. His name is Lorenzo. He told me over coffee one morning like it didn't mean anything. It did. We started meeting more often after that, sometimes on purpose, sometimes by accident. I couldn't tell anymore. He never touched me, never asked me about the night in the woods, never even looked at me like I was breakable, which was new. We'd talk about stupid stuff, music, movies, why I hated olives. He remembered everything. One day, I was rambling about this dumb art exhibit I wanted to see, and I paused, embarrassed. It's probably lame. He blinked, slow. You want to go? I'll come with you. Just like that. No teasing, no pressure. And he did come. He didn't pretend to care about the art, but he stayed beside me the whole time, hands in his pockets, eyes only drifting to me. We sat on the museum steps after, sharing fries. It was late. "Do you always do that?" I asked. "What? Make things easy?" He smiled then, a real one, small and tired and beautiful. "I try not to make things harder." I think that's when I started to fall. 2 months later. I was sick, nothing dramatic, just a fever and sore throat, but I texted him without thinking. Didn't even know why. Just wanted him to know, I guess. He showed up 20 minutes later. Soup, meds, a sweater, a movie already queued on his phone. Didn't even ask to come in. Just stood outside my door until I opened it. He sat on the edge of my bed, handed me tissues like it was a ritual he knew well. Told me about the worst fever he ever had when he was 14 and nearly set his kitchen on fire trying to make toast. We didn't talk about how weird it was. Didn't talk about why he cared. He just stayed with me till I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I was wrapped in my own blanket, sweating, but okay. There was a note on the nightstand. His handwriting was messy. "Drink water, don't die, text me if you wake up." He'd already left, and still, I felt more held than I ever had in my life. A few months later, we started dating without ever saying we were. He'd call and ask if I wanted to hang out. I always said yes. He'd walk beside me, buy me my favorite snacks without asking, tilt his head when I talked about dreams I didn't think I deserved. One night we were watching a movie in my apartment. Some dumb thriller, nothing romantic. I was laughing at something he said, half asleep, and he looked at me for a long time, then quietly said, "You feel like home." I froze. So did he. We didn't kiss that night. He didn't reach for me, but I couldn't stop thinking about those words. And a week later, when I finally kissed him, it felt like gravity. Not fireworks, not adrenaline, just this quiet, dizzying pull like I've been waiting my whole life for this. We didn't say "I love you" for another month, but I think we both knew long before the words came out. He never pushed, never asked for more than I could give, but I gave him everything, because with him, the world felt steady, and I finally did too. A few weeks later. If you told me a year ago I'd be waking up like this, in a king-sized bed that smells like warm cotton and lemon soap, with soft sunlight spilling over a bare shoulder that isn't mine, I'd have laughed in your face, or cried, or both. Lorenzo is still sleeping beside me, one arm flung across my waist like he's afraid I'll vanish. I stare at him for a minute. Just breathe him in. He's beautiful. The kind of beautiful that makes you ache. And he's mine. I've never been in love like this. He remembers little things. My favorite ramen flavor. That I hate waking up to loud noises. That my hands get cold easily. And he always brings gloves even when I forget. We have routines. Saturday morning coffee runs where he lets me pick the playlist. Wednesdays at the bookstore, where he watches me read instead of picking anything up himself. Sundays, we just stay in bed. It became our religion. I should be floating. I am, mostly. But there's a tiny thread of tension that never quite disappears. Lorenzo is soft with me, sure, but he's careful. Always composed, always a second too polished. He never talks about work, or his family, or where he disappears to some nights. He's never introduced me to his friends, never posted a photo of us, never let me stay over more than 2 nights in a row. It's not that I don't trust him, it's that I don't know if I know him. A few days later. It was raining that night. He'd left in a hurry after a call he didn't answer in front of me. He said, "Stay as long as you want, baby," and kissed my forehead, dropped his spare key on the counter. Gone. I wasn't snooping. Okay, maybe I was. I was folding laundry, okay? I was doing something nice, just trying to be good, helpful, the perfect boyfriend. I opened the closet to put his jackets away, and it was like the air inside was different, heavy. At first, it looked like regular stuff. Some old shoeboxes, a duffel bag, folders, a camera, nothing weird. Then I saw the gun. It wasn't hidden. It was just lying there. Cold metal on black fabric. And when I opened the drawer underneath, I found 4 burner phones, all off, all different brands. One had a cracked screen. One still had smudges on the glass, like someone had gripped it hard. Another one buzzed once, then died. And then I found the shirt, crumpled, dried, stiff with a brown stain that I knew was blood before my brain even let me consider anything else. I sat on the floor. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there with the shirt in my lap thinking about how he kissed me this morning, about how we were planning to go away this weekend, about the way he laughs when he's cooking, and how he always lets me pick the movie even if I fall asleep halfway through. What the hell was I looking at? A few minutes later, I didn't say a word. Not when I saw the shirt, dried blood crusted at the collar. Not when I found the gun, heavy and cold beneath a pile of folded sweaters. Not when the burner phones tumbled out of the shoebox at the back of the closet. My chest felt tight. My hands were trembling. I couldn't breathe. I didn't wait for him to come home. I just grabbed my jacket, shoved my feet into sneakers, and stumbled down the stairs. Outside, the night air slapped me hard, cold, sober. I kept walking, block after block, past the 24-hour laundromat, past the shuttered pharmacy. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't be there when he came back. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Once, then twice. Then again. Lorenzo. I ignored the first 5 calls, but he didn't stop. Eventually, I ducked into a dim corner by a closed-up bookstore, crouched beside a dumpster, and picked up. I didn't say anything, just pressed the phone to my ear. His voice was quiet, careful, like he wasn't sure which version of me he'd get. "Juan," he breathed. I swallowed hard. My throat burned. My eyes stung. "I didn't want you to find out like this," he said. "I had a plan. I was going to tell you. Just not yet." "What is it, Lorenzo?" I whispered. "What the hell is all of that?" He exhaled, long, slow. "I can explain everything. I promise you, I can. But not over the phone. Not like this." "You lied to me," I said. My voice cracked. "This whole time." "No," he said quickly. "No, Juan. Nothing I felt for you was a lie. Not a single second of it. You have to believe that." I didn't answer. "I know you're scared. I'd be scared too," he said. "But I'm begging you. Meet me tomorrow. The park? The one by the pond? Same bench?" "That park. Where we used to sit for hours doing nothing. Where he first kissed me. Where I first felt safe." "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he said. "I just need you to hear the truth. All of it. One last time." I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. But I stayed on the line until he hung up. And I knew I'd be there. The next morning. I stood in front of the mirror with my heart in my throat. My reflection looked wrecked, like someone who hadn't slept, who couldn't. Because how do you rest when the person you love might not be who they say they are? I kept thinking, I shouldn't go. I kept thinking. But it's Lorenzo, the man who bandaged my wounds, who held me like I mattered, who listened to me talk about things I didn't even understand about myself, who made me soup when I was sick, slow danced with me in the living room, kissed my knuckles like they were sacred. But then I remembered the closet, the gun, the burner phones, the blood. I didn't know who I was meeting at the park, the man I loved, or a stranger in a familiar skin. Still, I got dressed. Still, I walked out the door. And that was the last decision I made that day. I was halfway down the block, heart thudding louder with every step, when a car pulled up beside me. Too fast, too close, too quiet. The door swung open. Hands grabbed me. Too sudden, too rough. A cloth over my mouth. The sting of something sharp in my neck. Darkness. When I came to my senses, I was tied to a metal chair in a room that smelled like rot and bleach. My wrists burned. My head throbbed. My throat was raw from whatever they drugged me with. The light above flickered, buzzed, and then I saw him, leaning in the doorway, arms crossed, expression blank. Not Lorenzo, but something about him felt familiar, like a shadow I'd walked past before, like a voice I'd almost recognized, like a threat that had been waiting. He stepped closer, boots heavy, eyes like ice, and when he spoke, his voice chilled me to the bone. "You really thought he was the danger?" He smiled, slow, cruel. "You have no idea what you've stepped into." I opened my mouth to scream, but no sound came out. To be continued. The end. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force, and consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.